hope you are well and welcome to a special edition of Kickin with Kopish. You already know who I am. My name's Callum. You know who the person is to my right. That's man like Matt. Bottom right hand corner of the screen is Drifty. But guys, don't adjust your TV sets. Don't adjust your laptop sets, your computer sets, your phone sets. Guys, we have got the man himself, the one and only one of Liverpool's best goalkeepers in modern history, Sander Westerveld. Welcome to the show, Sander. How's it going?
Oh, thank you for that intro, man. Thank you very much.
No, absolute pleasure. How are you doing?
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, 5 minutes ago you wouldn't let me in because I typed my name wrong, and I was on the waiting list for half an hour. I don't know what happened, but I thought I put friendly just there, but I was kept on hold. But I'm okay now. Yeah, good to be
Yeah. So
here.
just to let you guys know, so Sander, we can all put our names on the screen as you see at the bottom left-hand corners of each of us. And Sander Westerveld decided to put Franny Jeffers as his name for obvious reason. They had I wouldn't call it an altercation because I think Sander came out on top quite clearly in that. But yeah, it's nice little humour from Sander. Do you remember that occasion, Sander? Do you remember what triggered that reaction?
No, definitely. And yeah, during this lockdown now and this Corona, I had a lot of podcasts and interviews, and in Holland and in England as well. And yeah, it's one of those questions. It always comes back. Even when my little daughter comes home from school and brings a new friend, once they Google my name, I think it's the first video that comes up. So I always have to talk about that story. But no, it was just a derby. It was my first derby, and I knew what it meant for the fans. And I was a bit frustrated because we were losing 1-0. It wasn't the best game. I didn't have anything to do, so I couldn't show myself, and I couldn't. Of course, I'm a goalkeeper. I can't win a game. Um, and yeah, he was irritating me a little bit in the first half. He was diving all over the place, and we had a little bit. Yeah, I was waiting for him in the tunnel in halftime, but I never had a chance to talk to him. So he ran into me afterwards. So I think it was an offside, and he had the ball. I had the ball, and afterwards, I think it was they call it a handbag fight. I never expected to be sent off. I thought it was just like I was trying to protect myself, and it was. I don't think it was anything, but according to the referee, we were just raising our hands, and yeah, I never expected to be sent off. But if I knew I could have smacked him down, maybe I would have had a bad feeling afterwards. But yeah, it was just shit because I thought I let the team down because I got a red card. Unfortunately, Stevie G got a red card 5 minutes after, so that made it okay.
Stevie G getting a red card in the Merseyside derby is not that unfamiliar, unfortunately.
No.
Got a couple of super chats before we get into the real questions. So Dado1, welcome, true legend Sander. You'll never walk alone. Bust the tune. We're not going to drop the tune just yet. It's a bit early. We will drop the tune later though. John Conway, hi Sander. What was your best memories in the Liverpool shirt? You picked me to that one as well, John. So Sander, we're going to come back to that one as well. So I'm going to start with the first question. So after helping Vitesse qualify for Europe, you joined Liverpool to succeed David James. You became our most expensive goalkeeper at the time, costing £4 million. Can you sort of remember where you were when you found out about Liverpool's interest, and were there any other clubs interested in you at the time?
Yeah, it was. I was in a fortunate position when I think it was in '96 when the Boston, I don't know how you call it in England, but the guy in Belgium had this court case and he won.
Mark Bosman.
Yeah, the Mark Bosman arrest, it's called in Dutch. So I was one of the first ones that was a free agent. And then I had quite a few options, and I chose Vitesse at that time. I was 21. And they gave me an opportunity to start to be a first team goalkeeper, and yeah, I did well for 3 years in a row, and was voted best player. And then I had a couple of options, but I told my agent as well. I said I'm not leaving. I always said in all the interviews I want to be an experienced goalkeeper before I leave, before I go to another club in Europe. So I wanted to be like 25, 26. But yeah, well, then Liverpool came. I think it was in February or March, around that those months. And I remember at one time they came to the stadium. I was a game against PSV Eindhoven, and we all met in my apartment afterwards. With Houllier, I think it was Phil Thompson, and Joe Corrigan as well, the goalkeeper coach. So that was just a dream come true. And like I said it in all the interviews, I was an idol. I was a big time fan of Liverpool. All the goalkeepers were my idols, and first of all, I thought they were joking. My agent just told me, he says, I remember you said no teams are focused on Vitesse, and I think it was also I made my debut in '99, just before I went to Liverpool as well. So I was all living the dream, and everything was going well, and I was focusing on Vitesse, and then Liverpool came. So. I still remember that day when I got the first phone call. Of course, that was just like I said, the dream come true.
Amazing.
Story,
Matt Drift, sort of. No, it's all right. Matt Drift, what were your sort of thoughts? Because obviously we had David James at the time, who sort of split opinion, and then obviously we purchased Sander for a record fee. Firstly, £4 million, like it sounds like nothing when you think of some of the fees that go around today, but at the time it was a big fee.
I think it's
so what was sort of
fee, or but for us,
is a British record, British record at the time.
Yeah, for us, yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
So when we signed him, and it became apparent that David James wasn't going to be our first choice goalkeeper anymore, what were your thoughts, Matt and Drift?
Obviously when the news broke, I was just more intrigued because obviously, as you said, David James had some good moments, but had some, I suppose, like iffy moments. So there's more of a case of it's going to be intriguing to see what our new goalkeeper is going to be like. And obviously, Sander went on to prove how amazing he was. You look at the trophies, obviously, that he's won. And you can only say it was a great decision by the Liverpool management. That's just me being honest. I think you look at what we've had in the past, and we've had a mixture of good goalkeepers and we've had a mixture of okay goalkeepers. But I'm not saying it just because Sander's here. You look at Sander's reputation, and obviously Sander, you was with Liverpool, obviously between 1999 and 2001, and you picked up, if I'm not mistaken, 5 trophies in that time.
Yep.
So it speaks for itself. So we got an amazing goalkeeper. For me personally, it was just a shame that obviously Sander didn't stay longer. That was just my only regret.
What about yourself? Yeah,
my regret personally.
I echo everything that Matt just said. Obviously, at the time, I can't remember how old I was, but I was quite young. So back then, I think transfers, I wasn't as like you lot know now how opinionated I am about who we should buy and what we should get and all that. Back then, I more kind of accepted what the club told me. So we bought a goalkeeper, in my opinion, he must be the best goalie in the world. You know what I mean? Sander was one of those, but at the time, I just believed it was anyway. So it was like, well, this must be amazing. And to replace David James, I knew it had to be a good goalkeeper anyway, because he did have his faults, but he was still a great goalkeeper in his own right as well. So I was like, right, if we've made the decision to replace David, then it has to be a good goalkeeper. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing it. Do you get what I mean? So, yeah, man, I was happy.
I must say I was surprised as well when Liverpool phoned me, because I told them as well. Those were my first words with the manager was, "You've got David James," because for me, and I said it through all his whole career. I think potentially he could have been the best goalkeeper in the world. I think he's got everything you need as a goalkeeper, and I saw him playing games. Unbelievable. So, of course, all the goalkeepers make mistakes, and then you just need to be lucky when you make the mistakes. Look at Karius and Alisson. If Alisson makes a mistake like last season, in his first year against Leicester City, I think it was. We still won 3-1. If we would have lost by that mistake, Karius came in. I think he had Bournemouth, and there were a couple of games where his mistake cost us, and of course the Champions League final. So those. You have to be lucky for a goalkeeper. If David James made mistakes in different games, nobody would care a lot. But he asked me do you want to come? And I said, of course. Next question. And we need to structure the back four. We need a new goalkeeper. I want to strengthen the defense, and I need a goalkeeper who doesn't make mistakes. So I just said yes, and I knew That's not going to happen anyway. But I just thought, okay, let's hope for the best. And no, but like I said, I was surprised as well because and afterwards as well, wherever you went, Aston Villa, Portsmouth, I've always I meet him sometimes with Legends games and around Liverpool games, and he's an amazing guy, and he's been an amazing goalkeeper. And like I said, I think he could have been one of the best goalkeepers in history, even in England.
Indeed, indeed. So, Sander, we've seen goalkeepers like Buffon going to have amazing careers after being bought for record fees. However, you've seen also the other side of it, someone like Kepa who's gone for a world record fee and he's struggled. How much at the time did the fee affect you, and did it make you want to prove yourself even more?
No, not really. I said it before. I think straight away in the first press conference, I didn't even know in the beginning I was the most expensive goalkeeper in history. But when they asked me the question, I said, well, my first answer was like, okay, so the club must have a lot of confidence in me. And that's how I saw it as well. It's not like big pressure. I have to show I'm like you said before, I must be the best goalkeeper in the world. And now I have to show it because they paid so much money. It was more like, I was playing okay and I was doing well. I had a lot of confidence and just been chosen national team. My whole career is going upwards, and I was just enjoying my life and my football. So going with the flow and just enjoying the confidence of the club. And the only thing that that was difficult for me was the first 10 games, I think. Even though you don't really feel that effect, I think I remember, and I just went to the basement with all bosses, and I saw some interviews, and I think I read an interview after the first. I think it was Sheffield Wednesday, I made my debut, and then a couple of days later we played Bradford, and then after 3 or 4 games, somebody said like, he maybe he's a good goalkeeper, but I haven't seen anything from him yet. And that was the case in the first 10 games. I couldn't prove myself. And although, you want to show yourself. And it was not the money. It was more like, I'm an unknown goalkeeper and I want to show the people of Liverpool who they have and what they've got. And well, unfortunately for me, but fortunately as well, we bought Sami Hyypiä and Stefan Henshaw. So I had games where I did a cooling down with the reserves after the game because I never touched the ball. So it was a good thing and a bad thing. But no, at the end, like I said, it never put any pressure on me, and it still doesn't. And I said this is the first thing I say when they buy players. It's not the player's mistake. Kepa is not he thinks he's a good goalkeeper, but even he will probably say, I'm not an 80 million pound goalkeeper. It's the market value now, so I'll just give everything. You shouldn't look at a player like for 100 million or even a free agent. What's the difference? So would it been any different if Kepa came on as a free agent? That's always my question. So it's the people that obviously think, okay, he must be the world best goalkeeper because we paid so much money for him. But it puts pressure on the goalkeepers, but on the players as well. But you can't do anything about it.
Indeed. Just going to read out this super chat from 2Pixel2. So 2Pixel2, Sander, I watched an interview when you spoke about the Bolton game and Houllier, and I was stunned when you left, but do you think Klopp should be a bit more ruthless instead of persisting with goalkeeper mistakes? I'll also ask that to Matt and Drifty.
Yeah, I was shocked, as I said before, when Sander left, and if I'm not mistaken, it obviously was the Bolton game. And as Sander said, any goalkeeper, it doesn't matter what feat is, like, mistakes are part of football. There's no football player on the planet that doesn't make mistakes. So, and obviously Sander had been amazing for so long. And the way how I saw it as a fan was, wait a minute, we've got a top class goalkeeper. He's made one mistake and now he's gone. I don't understand it. And you look at that and think, in today's game, if you want to look at some of the mistakes that goalkeepers make, I'd arguably say, we do persevere with them more because, even Alisson's made a mistake, but he has, I suppose, made mistakes that have led to really, really bad results, like, for example, Karius. At the moment, obviously, we've got a backup goalkeeper in Adrian, And I think it's fair to say he's had his fair share of mistakes. And some Liverpool fans, even myself, would say, well, if this was obviously in your day, Sander, really and truly, Adrian might have been. But again, I have to stress, it's part of the game. But when you're a goalkeeper, I think you take more so of the blame. I think when you're a defender, a midfielder or an attacker, you kind of get away with it sometimes. Whereas I feel like goalkeepers, if you make that mistake, it is more detrimental. Maybe that's obviously why they receive more criticism.
No, definitely.
Anything you
and I remember the game clearly. So that was in the week that I was away with the national team. I just played. Obviously, as a goalkeeper at Liverpool, you always everybody criticizes you. Always, there's always people that criticize you because you've got the legend of the past, the Ray Clemens, the Houllier. So they always compare. And I was goalkeeper. The only thing I can say afterwards is like I can't blame myself. I gave everything. I let everything on the pitch. I gave 100% in training. I never tried to make this. I never made those mistakes because I lacked confidence or concentration. Or everybody makes mistakes, and I made them. It wasn't the only mistake I made, obviously, at Liverpool. I made more. Actually, I was almost about to tweet yesterday because he scored the 10,000 goal for Liverpool. Yeah, I was about to tweet. Does my goal against Chelsea count? Because I punched one in my own goal. So I just wanted to know. But so I made a mistake. But I to be honest, and not to be arrogant, but I think I was just a young goalkeeper, 24 at the time, and I was getting better and better every season, and every game I was improving. And I thought I was going in the right direction, and I just played my best game I think I played in my time at Liverpool. It was Charity Shield against Man United, and that was one of the match we won 2-1, and that was I think 2 weeks before that Bolton game. So I was obviously thinking, okay, this is going to be my year now. We just qualified for the Champions League. I played my part. We had 5 trophies. But then, during the time in the national team, I heard about the goalkeeper situation, about they are getting Dudek, yes or no, and I didn't understand why. And then I played the game. I think it was the 85th minute where I was looking at myself, like thinking under the pressure with all the speculations about goalkeepers. I played a good game. I was happy with myself. I was concentrated, and obviously I made a mistake, but I would never have thought of this situation that happened afterwards. I remember in the dressing room, I was so because of the pressure of Dudek, I was like, okay, this could have been my last game, and it turned out to be one, and it's the goalkeeper. It's like I always say it's the most difficult position in the team. It's the most pressure. Every mistake is a goal, and you can't win games. You can only lose games. You can only win games on penalty shootouts, or maybe with match-winning saves. But depending on the work you get during the games. So I was shocked as well, and I think it was harsh. I think I never made so many mistakes as the goalkeepers do now, and they're still there, and they're still getting a lot of chances. So you have to be lucky to have a manager that gives you confidence as well. And unfortunately, Houllier at that time said, "I need a goalkeeper that never makes mistakes." And what can you say? I just hope that they not only do that and gave me a chance to fight back. That's my only regret I have at that time. So now they bought 2, and I never had a chance to fight back. And I'm still sure that if I was there, I would still be improving myself and maybe have a chance to be Liverpool's number 1. And I never had that chance. That's the only regret I have.
That's fair enough. Drifty, do you remember how you felt when obviously we purchased Dudek and Kirkland, and it became apparent that Sander was going to move on?
I won't lie. I was obviously you end up having to go with it, and Kirkland looked like he was going to be a real special player. You know, I've got a Kirkland shirt, so I did kind of get swept up in the hype of Kirkland. Unfortunately, he was just ravaged with injury, and he never got to prove himself. And obviously, we know what Dudek did in the Champions League, so you know, I mean, he did well for us as well. But I must admit, I was shocked. I was surprised. I remember feeling disappointed at the time. I remember thinking, why are we doing this? This doesn't make any sense. Because the thing is, there's a difference between a goalkeeper who you can tell is making mistakes because he's not really that good of a goalkeeper. And then you can tell the difference between a world-class top-level goalkeeper who's just made a mistake, because humans make mistakes. And Sander was a top-quality keeper who just made a mistake. Whereas we know we've got some goalkeepers out here, and we just know you're just not very good in it. Like, it's got nothing to do with anything else. You're just not very good, naming no names. So I thought at the time it had to be something else. I just felt like there's got to be something else. Either Sander wanted to go, there's something we'll never know till somebody writes a book, or, you know, just like that. There's got to be a reason for this, because there's no way this can be a performance player ability reason. There's no way. We wouldn't be getting rid of Sander if there was a reason for like ability terms. So I was shocked at the time. I was, and I was disappointed as well. And you lot know I'm someone who's big on loyalty in football, especially. And I remember thinking, if this is literally because of the game with the mistake, the Bolton game, that's just a liberty. That is just to this day, I'll say that's just a liberty. I'm not just saying it because we got you. I get this question a lot.
People still ask me if there was something else. The only thing I can say is Rick Perry at the time, he apologized for the way things were going at that time when I left.
Wow.
But that probably says enough. And there was a story, of course, that Liverpool wanted to buy one goalkeeper to challenge with me to get a better squad. And they made a mistake and they had to buy two. So what can I say? The only thing I say is that, like I said, I never had a chance to fight back. I think it never happened in world football, like you said. And I'm not patching myself on the back. I wasn't the world's best goalkeeper. I don't think I was at that time. I was getting better, and I think I did my part, and I was important for the team, and I was improving. And also the mistakes I made, the Bolton mistake, we were 1-1, so I only lost one goal, 1 point. Remember the Middlesbrough game in the snow where they're talking about. We were 0-0 and we lost, so only one point. The own goal against Chelsea. We were 2-0 down, I think. So it's not like I was losing all the games for the team, and that's why I think it was so hard. I was hoping for a little bit more. How do you say, confidence in me, but I never had that chance. So it was a big shock. It wasn't like I was, if Vitesse would have kicked me out. Vitesse is not my club. I came from Twente. Twente is my club. And I couldn't play there, so I had to move on for my career. But this was Liverpool. This is my dream. And I could have easily moved on if they say, okay, you're out, if I played for any other club. But I must say this. I think it cost me a couple of years to get over this, and it's still hard to talk about it. Probably.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Do you have any resentment to the way it happened? Do you have any resentment to Gerard Houllier?
I really had. Yeah, I had to admit I was really, really upset, and I never hate anybody. Hate is a word I never use. Dislike, yes. Because I didn't understand, and I was, like I said, I think it was so unnecessary, and I didn't deserve it. That's what I think. And but then a couple of years later, like I said, I really was having a hard time. But a couple of years later, I don't know if it was my wife or somebody else, but I came across that said, you know what, Houllier signed you. This was your club, so you must be grateful the way that he gave you an opportunity to shine for your club and make and get all these trophies with your club. And that's how I look at it now. I saw him a couple of years later, and we never spoke about it, by the way, but we never will probably. But it's just over now, and no hard feelings. I'm just grateful that I was part of the history of Liverpool, and that's the only thing I think about now.
Yeah, you're definitely part of the history, Sander. 100%. I got a couple of questions from people watching. So, Scoop on Football. Hey, Sander, what was the main reason for Real Sociedad's shock challenge for the La Liga title? And was it obvious how special Xabi Alonso was back then?
Yeah, well, I think it was a similar Stevie Gerrard. I think when I came at Liverpool, I never knew him. He made his debut, I think, the season before me, Stevie. And yeah, during the 2 years, you could see he was a good player. Carragher was a good player, but I would never have guessed that he would be a world-class player at that time, because you never know how somebody improves himself. And yeah, he was at a good level. He was playing well, but obviously it's difficult to see that. And the same happened with Xabi Alonso. I think the main reason at that time is the word I use a lot in interviews about Liverpool now and 5 years ago, and the top teams at Ajax, and it's all about balance in the team. If I talk about Liverpool for the last 5 years, I think we had top strikers. We had Suarez, we had Fernando Torres, we had European goal scorers, and then we didn't have the defense like we have now. Then we have a great defender, but we didn't have the striker. And yeah, 2 years ago, it all fit together. We had the best goalkeeper in the world. We had Van Dijk. We had a great midfield, and we had the strikers at the moment are world class. So the balance in the team is perfect now. And that was the same situation at Real Sociedad. For some reason, everything fitted together. We had Kovacevic, the striker, and Nihat, the Turk, who was scoring 24 and 26 goals. We had the experienced Karpin on the right. He came from Valencia, a Russian guy. We had Javi de Pedro on left. He was called the Beckham with the left foot. I think he had 20 assists that season. We had Xabi Alonso in midfield, who was just came up, and we had even Bjorn Kafama, Liverpool player, played there, and we had a great defense as well. So it was all. Sometimes you have that. Alaves had that one season. Some teams, they just Leicester City. Sometimes it all clicks together and you have an amazing run and you have the confidence. And we were unbeaten, I think, until February. And we were, after the day 5, we were top of the league until the very, the last, the most important one. And it was the last game, and we missed out of winning the league. But it was all, it all clicked together. And of course, Xabi Alonso played a massive part in that, like he did at Liverpool's success.
Yeah,
definitely. One more question to ask you. So Sander, when you joined, did you feel the weight of expectation in the history? Did this motivate you? Did you see any players who buckled under the pressure as well?
I think sometimes in your career you have to be lucky. You need, as a football player, there's millions of football players in the world that are all dreaming. Every time you have an interview with players and with family, the mothers and the fathers, they say, we knew he would be a football player. He was with the ball 24 hours. He was so devoted, and he was so. I can give you interviews with millions of parents who say exactly the same, but their children never became football players. But so it's not the best players that well, you have to be the best player to come somewhere, but you need a lot of luck as well sometimes, and you need to be in the right place at the right time. And I think at that time I never felt the pressure, like I said before, about this money, about this most important or most historical, the biggest transfer. And the same is from the fans. It was even, I think it was the best time to sign for Liverpool, because we didn't win anything in 10 years. So at that time, Houllier was changing the team, and I think he bought 8 players, and we were building the team. So for me, it was a perfect time to step in, and we couldn't go wrong. So we were just out of Europe. So I think when I signed, they ended up 10th or 6th or whatever. But so it could only go better for us, and as it turned out to be, it went like this. So, like I said, it was a perfect timing when I arrived at Liverpool, and the same for Real Sociedad. When I moved there, they were at the bottom, and then they signed Kovacevic and all the players and me, and suddenly we were almost winning the league. So sometimes you need that luck, and I know the expectations of the fans, and it's always there. But I can guarantee you one thing is that every player at Liverpool and all the football players in the world, I just wanted to win the next game. This is the most important game for them. They want to win the next game, and then at the end of the day, they'll see how far they are in the top or in the bottom. But yeah, the expectations there will always be. But yeah, I can't honestly say that anybody at that time was just had too much pressure on him. Even Michael Owen, the whole world, it was a golden boy then in '98, and I have so much respect for him handling the pressure. He was just enjoying his football. He says, "I gave everything on the pitch, and more I can't do, and the rest has just been said by supporters and journalists. I don't have any influence in that. So I just play my football, and that's how I try to do the same, and that's what we all did at that time. So I don't think anybody had a problem with the pressure. Maybe at that time, maybe you just say maybe that player, he was a prospect, but it never showed. Like Kirkland, like you said before, I never had anything, but like you said, they bought Kirkland and Dudek. They're great goalkeepers, so it wasn't like. But Kirkland was just unlucky with all these injuries, and it had nothing to do with pressure. He was just injured. Sometimes it works for you, and sometimes you have the bad luck.
Yeah. Sorry, Carl, just quickly. Sander.
Yeah.
In regards to when you was at Liverpool, who would you say at the time was Liverpool's most talented player? And was it surprising when you kind of left? Did you see anything changing, or did you say to yourself, "No, do you know what? That person there, they're going to go on to do great things"? Like, who, in your opinion, did you think was the most talented?
Yeah, it's very easy to say if I name Stevie G now, but I must say I was really not surprised, but I was, or maybe I was surprised by how good he was Robbie Fowler and Michael Owen. Yes. Robbie Fowler, because of his finishing in the box, and like I said before, I had a lot of confidence throughout all my career. I would walk on the pitch and think to my, might have they should have given me an Oscar probably because I'm the biggest actor. If I make a mistake in the beginning of the game, I can still play a great game because I just try to come up with the feeling I just saved a penalty. That's what I did in all my career. So mentally I can just play with myself. But if I came on in the training, I came on the pitch and then we did a finishing session. I walked off and I just told my wife I want to retire football because you can't touch the ball. If Michael and Robbie have the ball in the box, it's a goal, and you can jump around and go and whatever you do, nothing helps. They're the best finishers I've ever seen. Michael Owen. I don't think anybody can ever make a clip of Michael Owen going one-on-one with a goalkeeper and he misses. Because one-on-one, I just walk around. I went back to the fans and start celebrating already. This guy was, and I must say, Michael Owen for me was not my idol, but I really looked up to him. Although he was younger, but the way he handled everything, he was the nicest guy you could ever meet. He was so down to earth, humble. And he was a top professional. And like I said, on the pitch, off the pitch, the way he handled the press and the pressure, I think that was a big example for anybody. I could say.
Okay.
I'm so glad you said that because I keep trying to remind people. I know Owen didn't leave in the best circumstances, but he was sensational.
He doesn't have a good name with supporters because he left, obviously.
We've spoken about on the show a few times.
Yeah.
But he was sensational. Come on, it's Michael Owen.
Oh, he is, yeah.
No, that's fair.
Oh, he did great things. Yeah. So he won all the prizes. And like I said, sometimes, even I saw the documentary about Stevie G, even he really got in a situation that like, okay, Liverpool is not making the next step. I'm a player. I only play for 10, 15 years on a high level. I want to win the league. And then he was doubting himself. Maybe I'll go to Chelsea to just win leagues. And Van Persie did the same when he went from Arsenal and Man United. And he said afterwards, maybe I should have stayed. I would have been a legend at Arsenal. But I just wanted to have, the trophy of winning the league as well. And that's what Michael thought. He was kind of kicked out by Liverpool when he went to Madrid. He said he never wanted to leave. And then when he came back, he wanted to come back to Liverpool again. They didn't want to sign him again. So, what do you do? Then this happened. So, sometimes you just have to think about yourself and your career. But like I said, yeah, he's a top bloke.
So, Sander, the situation that you faced with obviously Liverpool getting rid of you completely unjust and nothing you could do about it. Do you, obviously, as a player, do you feel that as fans we're a little bit harsh when we get annoyed at, say, a Fernando Torres or a Michael Owen when they think about themselves and they make that move? Because obviously you've been in a position where you were loyal to the club and they weren't loyal to you. And I guess as fans, we always just think, the players should just always think of the club. You should always think of us. Is it a little bit unfair for us to be like that? As a human being, do you have to kind of always think the club can turn around and do it to me? So,
well, that's the thing. That's the thing you should realize is, I can say now, I would have finished my career at Liverpool if they gave me a chance. Because, like I said, in all the interviews I gave when I was a young player, I'm not saying that because I played for Liverpool, but just when I grew up, I've got my clubs in every country. I love AC Milan. Maybe because of the three Dutchies when they were winning all the Champions Leagues. My club is Barcelona because of the team from Guardiola and the dream team before with Johan Cruyff and Koeman. So Liverpool was my team when I grew up. Liverpool was winning all the cups and all the leagues. So I followed Liverpool all the way, and I wanted to sign a 10-year deal. So and this comes up, and they kick me out, and that can happen to players as well. So sometimes you have to think about yourself. But I must say, sometimes there are situations like, especially Fernando Torres. I think he was doing great for Liverpool, and at that time there was no need for him because Liverpool was making steps as well. And I don't think there was for him. It was a good move to go to Chelsea. But then again, he was a foreigner, and probably Liverpool for him was just a club like Tottenham and any other club in England. So for him, it was just maybe just another step in his career. But sometimes you just have to. It's a bit of both. Stevie G was in a situation where Liverpool was not making the last step of challenging the league, and he wanted to win the league. That he thought maybe everybody's talking about winning leagues and playing Champions League, and he couldn't do that. So then, fortunately, like he said in his documentary as well, when he speaks about leaving, he's so loved in his city, and to leave for a couple of just with all respect, a couple of league titles, maybe he would have won 2 league titles. It wouldn't have made a difference for him as a legend, but it would have been a big problem for him to come back to Liverpool. So it's a bit both. So I understand the fans, and sometimes I think they're right. Sometimes they only think about the money and they make a step where you think, why? But sometimes you just have to think about yourself. And the Michael Owen, for example, is a totally different situation than the Fernando Torres one.
Very, very well said. So got a couple of questions from the viewers now, Sander. So El Silva asked, was it weird playing for Everton? So for anyone who doesn't know, unfortunately, Sander had a moment in his career where he unfortunately went to the blue side of Mersey. We all make mistakes, so we forgive you, Sander. But you did play for Everton. How did that feel?
I never won a game with them.
Inside man.
No, but
undercover.
Honestly, and I'm going to be. I'm far away. I'm not in the studio, so I can just say this without getting abused or whatever, beaten up. I think, honestly, it was one of my best things I've ever did in my whole career, and it was my best experience in my whole football career. I remember I was at Portsmouth. I was a signing of Perrin. I was playing in the beginning. Perrin got the sack. Harry Redknapp came, brought a new goalkeeper in, and 11 players, and I was on the bench. And then I was on my way to see the game Chelsea-Barcelona. And then Moyes phoned me and says, "Yeah, we have a problem. Can you help me?" And not to be funny, but in my time at Liverpool, all my friends in Liverpool, I think 9 out of 10 friends I still have, are all Evertonians for some reason, and I'm not sure why. But and he phoned me and says, "Yeah, can you help me?" And I was just thinking about I need to play. I need to put myself in the shopping window again, just to play and get a new contract somewhere else. Because and I say yes, and I put down the phone, and I thought, oh shit, what did I do? It's Everton, and I quickly phoned my friends. Honestly, nobody I've ever spoken to said don't do it. They all said go at it. No worries. It's not a situation where you went from Liverpool to Everton. Everybody knows your situation. You had to leave Liverpool. They kicked you out. So no hard feelings. And I think I was only there for a month. But the very first minute I came into the dressing room, I came into the training ground, I came on the pitch in the stadium, the fans, they greeted me with so much respect. And as I had a podcast with Franny Jeffers like a month ago, he told me like the fans are, if you put on an Everton shirt, they will go for you all the way. And that's how I felt as well. They were happy to see me. The situation was I was there to help. And that's what I tried to do. And until this day, I don't think any of my Liverpool friends, they never complained. They never, of course, I was there. And I also thought maybe, like, I'm so happy that I made history with Liverpool. But it's so difficult to make history with Liverpool. You can win a Champions League, but they already won 6 now. So it's to win a treble like we did and 5 trophies in the season and be part of history of Liverpool. That was for me is my best. That's my trophy of my career. But also in the back of my head, I think it was also like being maybe one of the few or maybe the only goalkeeper that ever played for both clubs. Was also something in my mind that like, hey, maybe I can be a part of a little bit of history again. And so it was all little things that made me choose for this club. And I must say, I'm sorry, but I love my time at Liverpool or at Everton at the time.
We forgive you, Sander. We forgive you. So Trent FC is asked, what makes Alisson one of the best in the world in his positions? And do you notice something that we don't, being a former goalkeeper and now goalkeeping coach, that makes him stand out amongst the other goalkeepers in world football?
No, I think we just talked about Adrian before. And I think Adrian is under a lot of pressure. And is also under a lot of pressure because he's a backup. He's a number 2, and in a lot of clubs they have 2 goalkeepers. If one is playing or is not playing so well, the other one comes in. Here you got a situation where the number 1 is the world's best goalkeeper, and then any game you come in, whatever you do, because he did great in the beginning. I think he started with a charity shield, with saving the penalties and winning the trophy. And
no, sorry, Sander, Trent. Sorry, Sanders. Trent was asking about Alisson. What makes Alisson stand out and makes him so special?
No, it was a long. So I mean, but at the moment he's behind the world's best goalkeeper, so he's under a lot of pressure, and they're always talking about him when you are playing. So that's why it's so difficult for him, and that's why. Well, and then I'll start about Alisson. He's if you tick boxes like this is make all this. What makes you a good goalkeeper? And then you put on you write down on a board all these things like height, appearance, under pressure, performance under pressure, kicking long balls, short, reflexes. He ticks all the boxes. He's like I think Neuer as well. They are the goalkeepers. What standard does a goalkeeper need? Everybody wants like, I need this goalkeeper, and the one that ticks the most boxes, you sign. But Alisson, I don't think he's got a weak point. He can do everything. He can play with his feet, which is really important at the moment in world football. He plays like an outfield player with gloves. Obviously, he's been leads in Brazil, probably playing around. He's got this feeling. He's big. And that's why I like him a little bit more than Neuer as well, because he's got appearance. He comes out crosses. He's got a long throw. He can kick the ball wherever he wants. He's got a counter attack. And yesterday as well, the 1-on-1 is great. And the thing that makes you a world-class goalkeeper instead of a good goalkeeper is making those match-winning saves in moments you need them, and not like playing great games against, with all respect, Burnley or QPR or in the cup against Tranmere, and then be man of the match. No, he will be man of the match against Paris Saint-Germain and against Real Madrid when you really need them. So every time you need a goalkeeper to stand up, he's there and make match-winning saves like the one against Napoli. And that's why he's so important, and that's why there's so much pressure on Adrian. And I think he's struggling with the pressure at the moment.
Yeah.
So two answers in one question.
Yeah,
Definitely.
great answer. So we've touched on Gary Paul. Gary Paul asks how good was Michael Owen, but obviously you've touched on that, Sander. Peter Tower has asked, what player made you feel the least amount of pressure, and what sort of level do you have Virgil van Dijk at? Where does he rank in your sort of opinions of defenders over the years?
What was the first question?
The first question was, which player did you play with that made you feel the least amount of pressure? That you went into a game thinking, yeah, we've got this.
Oh, well, I think there's a couple. You knew that with Robbie Fowler, if you were able to get the ball in the box in his feet, then 9 out of 10 would be a goal. I think at that, especially the 2001 year, we had so much confidence, and that's why we kept going in all the finals where we probably should have lost against Arsenal, for example. We knew if we could keep a clean sheet at the back, we had Michael Owen, we had Robbie Fowler, we had players that could change the game and win the game for us, even in the last second with one chance, and that gives you a lot of confidence. But probably some UPI and maybe his partnership with Stefan Henshaw gave me a lot of confidence. I was called an English goalkeeper in Holland because I came for a lot of crosses, dominating my box. I kind of a little bit got criticism in England for not coming for crosses suddenly, where I thought was very, not funny, but maybe strange, because I was well known for coming for crosses, but it was just I didn't need to come on every cross. Sami Hyypiä was there, so that gave me so much confidence. Like I knew if I could go, I would catch the ball. But sometimes when it was a little bit further up, I could just leave Sami to clear it. And that as a goalkeeper, like that's the same with Virgil van Dijk now and Alisson. For Alisson, it's amazing. If you think, for example, I'll give you one example. It's like the most difficult things in goalkeeping is like this in-swing in corners or these free kicks, the balls in the box, where you think, should I go or should I stay? They fall between. And if you have that situation, now Alisson can say, okay, I'll stay because I've got Virgil. I had the same with Sami. If I was doubting, I was like, no, leave Sami, and Sami would help. If you check all the goals we conceded in that time, I don't think there were a lot of goals we conceded from free kicks and corners anyway. So that's the same with Van Dijk. Van Dijk is like we said about Alisson. He's the one that ticks all the boxes if you want your perfect defender. He's quick, he's strong, he's good in his timing, his passing, he can score goals. What else do you need? He's a leader who makes other players better and gives confidence to the defense as well. And you can see those players. Unfortunately, only when they're not there, you can see how much they're missed.
Yeah, Matt Drifty, sort of when you think back about that team that Sander was playing in, who are the sort of standout players for you? Who are the players that you went in thinking, we're going to win because we've got these players on the pitch today?
Like, I've already spoke about him already. You know what I mean? Michael Owen, like I said it, like I know a lot of people like, Drift, I can't believe you still big him up. But I'm like, you know what? It was a long time ago. He wanted to come back. I've heard the interviews and you know what I mean, Real Madrid was something he wanted to experience, but he always planned to come back. The club did say they would bring him back. So I would say, just let him off the hook. You know what I mean? Just remember how good he was. Michael Owen was sensational. He just was like, I remember just feeling a bit like what Sander just said, for example, the FA Cup. I'm just like, we can win this game just because we've got him.
Yeah.
Literally, just because we've got him. Like, I don't think people truly remember, because it was such a long time ago, Robbie, Fowler and Michael Owen. Do you know what a strike force that is? Like, if you really think about it for a second, that's the type of strike force that if you were making a team on FIFA, you would make that your team. That was how good our strike force was at that time. I know obviously Gerrard wasn't quite the player he is now at that time because he was really young, but he was still a great player. You know what I mean? McAllister, Hippier. We had loads of players at that time that I was just like, listen, that when Sander, when you played for us, those around that time, especially the treble winning year, I know we've had maybe bigger individual moments like the Champions League final 05, for example, as a one-off moment. That was probably the biggest moment of my Liverpool, life. And then obviously we just won the league. That was unbelievable feeling. But there's still a part of me that struggles to think if there's been a one season as a whole that felt better than that 2001 season, because as you said, it was history making. It was a cup treble. It felt like the good times just kept on coming and coming. It's like, oh, another trophy. Oh, we won it. And for me, I'm struggling to think if there was a better season than that as a whole, because to win 3 trophies, and obviously, was it 5 in a calendar year it ended up being, or something like that?
Yeah.
We've never felt like that. I mean, maybe with the World Cup Championship and the Super Cup after the Premier League, it does feel maybe better because obviously winning the league is a bigger achievement. But still, that 2001, that was a phenomenal year as a Liverpool fan. I remember just walking on cloud 9. It was amazing that year, man. It was.
And it was, and I think what also important was that we never won anything for the last 10 years, and that was a season that everything was like positive. You could see the whole vibe, and I had that only once or twice in my career, and especially at Real Sociedad, where I came and the mood was like, they were like almost hiding the shirts, and then suddenly we were playing well, we were winning all these games, and put the banners on the balconies and they put the shirts out on the streets. And that was the same with Liverpool. When I came, they were like, unknown goalkeeper, Titi Kamara, Stevenencho, some Hippios did, well, here we go again. And then suddenly we were just chasing almost the league and winning a step. The first year we were the best defense. Then we had the trophies, and especially trophies. The Champions League obviously is a bigger one. But I mean, the winning trophies, any trophy is great for clubs. And I think you can only get better if you win the FA Cup, the league, and the Champions League together. But that's a hard one. But I mean, just the vibe in the team and the whole city. I think it's a similar situation at the moment. At the moment, all the Liverpool fans are suddenly, again after so long, suddenly proud again. Like we are Liverpool, we are winning. It is back at the top of the world. And that's how we are now, and that's how we felt, and also the supporters, I think, in 2001.
Yeah, definitely.
Unfortunately, they sold me then, so they could have gone all the way
to John Conway has asked, what are your best memories in a Liverpool shirt?
Yeah, that's also difficult. Obviously, like being part of making history is for me my biggest achievement in my career. Having those 5 trophies in one calendar year, winning the FA Cup, the biggest trophy for the European player, the European Cup, like the UEFA Cup, it's called now. I don't even know how it's called now, but the Euro League. But that was for a European player, of course, bigger than an FA Cup. But I knew how important the FA Cup was. But as a goalkeeper, I think the first one, maybe not only for me, was a goalkeeper to save two penalties and the winning penalty, the League Cup. And I think it was important because it was the first one after 10 years. We won a cup again. And it gave us the experience of winning a final. And the experience of playing in a final that I think was vital in playing and winning all the finals that came later. The FA Cup, because of the experience of the League Cup, we won the FA Cup too, and afterwards the Euro League. So For me personally, if I have to choose one, it's probably the League Cup. But then again, the FA Cup was also like, no, I can't choose because the EuroLeague is also. I got them all here behind me, and it's I couldn't choose.
Beautiful picture. Beautiful picture. Stephen Somerville has asked, who were you closest with in the dressing room?
Well, it's the first time you move abroad. You go to another country. Obviously, spoke the language as we Dutch people do. So I could mingle with everybody. But it's always easy if you have how do you say that? If you have another a Dutch guy there, or somebody who speaks Dutch, and even the families get along. So we signed Erik Meijer, the big Dutch striker, and he's an amazing guy. He's still a friend of mine, and our families got along. With his wife and my wife were friends, and the same. Sami Hyypiä spoke Dutch, and straight from day one,
Yes.
I think we were all together. And like I said, I think I was friends with everybody. I don't think you can ask or find anybody who had a problem with me at Liverpool in my career. But those were the players, and especially the Germans as well. I know the Dutch and the Germans normally don't go well, but yeah, those were the best. My best friends. We had Babbel, Siege, and Hamann, and and then Sander Westerveld and Erik Meijer, and those were especially the players I spent the most time with off the pitch.
Yeah.
Lovely. 2Pixel2's asked a very interesting question that we were going to ask you on here as well. So you look at some of the mistakes keepers make now, and they're asked to do a lot of things. So as you spoke about Alisson, he's not just a goalkeeper; he's almost another player on the pitch with gloves on, as you elegantly put it. Can goalkeeper coaches like yourself do things to coach mistakes out of players, or is it just down to the player? And then you look at some of the criticism that John Achterberg for Liverpool has got, for example. Is there anything a goalkeeper coach can actually do to coach mistakes out of a player?
You were asking me now? Yeah. Well, it depends. It depends on the goalkeeper, I think. You said it right. Sometimes you have goalkeepers that you can see they're maybe not really good goalkeepers. They make mistakes. Sometimes you have top goalkeepers like whoever, even Neuer makes mistakes. But he's a great goalkeeper, and he makes a mistake that he normally never makes. But then again, sometimes you have goalkeepers that make the same mistakes, and it's down to or technique, or maybe experience, or pressure, coping pressure, and doing things like in training. He's like you can't score against him, and then suddenly on the pitch he's a different goalkeeper. So then you have your part as a goalkeeper coach. You can maybe take the pressure off, and it depends how he is. Maybe he doesn't have any confidence. He doesn't think he's good enough. So you have to give him a lot of confidence. You change the training sessions. You make training sessions where you give him a lot of confidence. You great ball, so he can feel really good. And sometimes you have goalkeepers, they are technically not really well, or positionally they take wrong positions. And then if you analyze that, as they do, you can change those goalkeepers and make them better goalkeepers. I had the luck and the bad luck that my best goalkeeper coach I had in my career was my goalkeeper coach at Real Sociedad. And I said it in all the interviews. If I had him in the beginning of my career, I would have been a lot better than I was. So he's at Man City now. He's the Spanish goalkeeper coach at Man City, and he's the one that changed details on me. The way I moved in the goal, and suddenly I was making saves that I never made before. For example, if there was a free kick, he would kick the ball in the top corner all the time, and I couldn't touch it until we trained on making one step in between. And before you make one step to dive, he was changing my feet in quick feet, like making one step more, and then I could dive half a meter, and I was quicker, and that made a difference. So I think I had a lot of I have to give a lot of credit to him, and in that situation, you as a goalkeeper can really change and make a goalkeeper better.
Fair enough.
That's
So
actually interesting.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, it is. Dado one has asked, can you help get
I'm
Mike
sitting in
Lone
the
on the
dark
show?
now. Just one. Go on.
Dado, we can't ask Sander to become an agent. He's already goalkeeping coach and a Liverpool legend. Maybe one day we'll get Mike Lone on the show. We'll see. We'll do our best for you guys. Sander, we've got to say a massive thank you. We're going to leave with one more question now from Scoop on Football. So he's asked if you could name your best 11, including all the club and international players you've played with. Which is, I'm not going to lie, Sander, I don't envy you in this position because you're in a horrible position.
I've never did. I never did. Honestly, I never did, and I can't, because if I'm going to name the names I played football with, then I obviously had. I was lucky to play in one of the best national teams. I was on the bench. I only played 6 games, but still,
You still played.
I still play and played, but I was playing with Clarence Seedorf, with Edgar Davids, with Dennis Bergkamp, Ruud van Nistelrooy. So yeah, how can I choose Xabi Alonso and Steven Gerrard, or Edgar Davids or Seedorf, or defenders like Jaap Stam and Sami Hyypiä? It's honestly, I get this question a lot. Sometimes
Phenomenal player.
The magazines ask me, like, put your best 11, even Liverpool best 11. I'm struggling to get. How can you choose? Sami Hyypiä, Virgil van Dijk, maybe play together. Steven Gerrard, of course, and then Carragher. Where do you put him? Right back, maybe left back. So the strikers. Which one of the strikers do you pick? Suarez, Fowler, Torres. It's too difficult. Who do you put in goals? Ray Clemens, Houllier, now Alisson, of course. Nah, it's sorry, I can't. It's too difficult. I played with so many good players that I can't put it together.
Do you know what, Sander? Just before you go, let me ask you a different question, actually. Yeah. Who would you say are the 3 strikers that you faced, opposition-wise, were the hardest you've ever come up against? So not from Liverpool, but from oppositions. Who would you say that you're the top 3 where you were like, do you know what? If they're one-on-one against me, I mean, I might be in a bit of trouble here.
Yeah. So again, I was lucky to play against all those strikers. I think one that comes in mind is probably Ronaldo, the real Ronaldo.
Yes, there we go. There we go. Sander Westerveld.
Yes, Sander.
But he was a striker, and when I played him, he played for Madrid, obviously, and was one in his best times. He was just, for me as a goalkeeper, you analyze games, you analyze strikers, and you think, okay, when there's with the back to the goal, they always turn. When there's one-on-one, he's waiting, or he's chipping, or he's doing all this. If he goes to Mark Overmars, when he comes from the right, from your left, my right side, goes inside, he always kicks the ball in between the legs, in the near post. So you know, okay, I'm going to face those. I have to take care. But if you play Ronaldo and Ronaldinho as well from Barcelona, if you have Michael Owen against you, as a goalkeeper, you're just like, you don't. Sometimes you think, okay, this is the striker. I have to do this. But with them, they can do everything. They're so unpredictable, and they could score any. They could have. Yeah, I can't mention anything, but I don't think he could headball Ronaldo. But everything, he was always passing the ball, a clinical striker. I was really not afraid of him, but I was really like, if he was playing, I was like, okay, I'll just try to my best. But I couldn't prepare, and that's the one that comes to mind. Bergkamp also was one. Henry was so quick and so fast, and he could finish as well. And Van Nistelrooy was just clinical, just bang goal. But I never played so many games against him, fortunately. So if I have to choose one, long story short, it's going to be the real Ronaldo.
Yes.
Love that. That's what I'm talking about. That's made my day, Sander. That's my all-time favorite footballer. I love that.
Yeah, he's idol, man.
A legend. He almost goes beyond legend.
I just don't like the Ronaldo from now.
Yeah.
Oh, even better. Oh my God.
We love you even more, mate. Well, I love that.
Yeah,
I love you
that's
even
just-
more, mate.
No, well, like I just said about Michael Owen, I like to, maybe because I'm Dutch, I don't feel anything more than any of you guys or the cleaner in the street or the stewardess, or I'm just lucky to play football. And if I see players like Ronaldo and posting, like yesterday he posted, he's always posting himself and he's always showing himself, he's always talking about himself, and it's him. I have more with Messi. I know with Liverpool, and Messi is maybe not the most popular
No,
player,
we're
but
messy here.
for me, he's humble. He's just doing his job. He's got all the respect for everybody, and yeah, that's what I like. Those people I like, and like I said, Michael
Couldn't have
Owen
said
was
it any
my
better.
idol, and hopefully everybody's like that.
Indeed. Oh, Sander, we're going to wrap up here. Matt, do you have any more questions
Yeah,
for
we
the
could
big
have
man?
talked for hours, eh?
Yeah.
we have to do it again.
Yeah, well, yeah. It was sound.
Yeah, I mean,
Sound.
the only thing else I have to say is I'm not even just saying it because you're on the show, Sandy. You're in my top 3 all-time Liverpool Premier League goalkeepers, and it was a pleasure to watch you in goal, man.
Goalkeepers, you man, not the Premier League. The Premier League. I think I did well. I played my part, but I don't think I was.
In my opinion, you're in Liverpool's top 3 Premier League all-time. I'm just being honest. Like I genuinely do think you're in Liverpool's top 3 Premier League goalkeepers. So, you know what I mean? It was a pleasure watching you play for us. And that year, 2001, was amazing, man. It was, my childhood is just filled with great memories. And thank you for being a part of that, man.
No, thank you. And thank you to the fans. And thanks everybody that's been a part of that. And yeah, hopefully we can win trophies for the next years to come. Be back at the top last 2 years now. That's what everybody wants at Liverpool, and hopefully we can continue like this.
Definitely. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, Sander. Honestly, really
Likewise.
great for you coming on. Massive thank you to your agent as well for helping us get you on as well.
No problem. He's my agenda.
Can't thank you. Can't thank
You've been absolutely brilliant, and yeah, hopefully we can do this again one day. We can definitely do this again one day when you're free, and we'll make time for you because you deserve it as a Liverpool legend.
Any day.
So yeah, people,
any day I've got
thank you very much for watching.
The thing up.
My wife's people, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Go and follow Sander Westerveld on his social media as well. Go and support him. He's a Liverpool legend, so there's absolutely no excuse. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video. Continue to support Sander. Go back and watch his highlights to see actually how great he was. If you've forgotten, we haven't. But if you have, go back and watch his highlights. Until we see you again next time, guys, a massive thank you to Sander Westerveld. And stay safe, stay blessed. We are Kopish, and we are out, people. You take care.
Peace out.
Legend.